How many of you can tell me that you made 3 songs in the last week? You've got your studio, you've got your setup, you've got everything's like there at your disposal. These guys have 1 hour and record their music, and they're banging out 3 songs in a session, in a prison.
I want to clarify for the musicians, artists, singers and producers that it is important to prioritize the skill and use the tools to supplement and make your creative experience even better. Yes, guys, welcome back to the Sound Mindset podcast, where we bring you the latest in music production tools, helping you to navigate the industry with a mindset for success. And I was looking forward to today's catch up. We got Dr Duce in the building once again, and First Timothy. And yeah, man, we just want to first of all appreciate everyone commenting and showing love on the channel. You know, we've been really trying to give valuable information, valuable insight into how we can navigate today's industry, because it's changing really quickly. And one of the biggest things that is in the spotlight right now is AI and music tools as it regards to AI, and even making music with AI completely from nothing. But one thing that I wanted to highlight today, Unc, is we are musicians first. And I want to clarify for the musicians, artists, singers and producers that it is important to prioritize the skill and use the tools to supplement and even make your creative experience even better. So what do you even think about the, because we're going to get into it and I'll ask you how your week is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great to reiterate this point, because we have at the very beginning, and I think throughout these episodes, since we restarted posting several weeks ago, we have maintained that we are musicians first. We will continue to be musicians. However, we are aware of the evolution of this music industry. Just like any other industry, whether it be tech, whether it be sport, whatever media, evolution takes place, especially where technology is involved. And if you don't adapt and you don't learn, you will be left behind.
Facts.
So as musicians I earn my living, I eat, I travel because I'm a musician and I use my musical skills to make that happen. The same with you, First Timothy. That's what you do.
Absolutely.
However, what we're highlighting right here in these episodes, and we'll continue to highlight and encourage those of you who are willing to listen and consider what we're saying. AI is upon us. We cannot stop it. It's taking over many industries, including the music industry. So let me rephrase that. It's infiltrating, not necessarily taking over. And I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving those words in because I need to make sure that I check myself. It's infiltrating the music industry, and that impacts every single one of us. So, in answer to your point, sir, it's really important to, as you said, use the AI tech as a collaborator. But just like you said, it's not replacement for our skills and abilities and talent as musicians.
100%, man, 100%. With that being said, because that's what we're going to tap into today, because I want to give all of the creatives, the musical creators out there, 3 key points. Well, we're going to give them 3 key points on how to basically not get lost in the sauce in trying to make money the main objective, but rather make money the objective, an important one, but ensuring that your creative process is sustainable so you can stay in this game. Because if you're not enjoying it, whether you're just jumping on AI and using that to make 2 tunes and you have absolutely no investment or whatever, you won't be doing it for very long. because there will be
100%.
a detachment or a disconnect with you not understanding really what you're doing and how to use a tool, and the person that's listening to it thinking, well, that doesn't really sound right, or this guy is trying to pitch this song to me in this way, but I'm not really feeling that. That's music is a feeling too, no?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's at the heart of it. Mate, I'm glad that you touched on that point, because I was speaking to someone this week, again working in prison, doing some workshops in prisons this week, and someone raised that exact point, and it's true. No one can really. I mean, well, you can disagree. Music evokes feelings.
Yeah,
that's what it does. You're not going to put on a song and listen to the song all the way through, and to actually actively listen to the song all the way through, and not have some sort of emotional response. You might hate it. You might choose to listen to it all the way through and hate it, or you might listen and you like it or love it, or you might not really feel too. Yeah, but it's still evoking some sort of emotional response.
Yeah,
which is feeling. Okay.
Yeah,
and the feeling comes from, as musicians, we infuse the feeling into the music through our collaborative experience as musicians in bands, etc. Now, how does the AI integration in the music, does that evoke feelings when you listen to a song created by an AI engine? Does that evoke feeling for you? That's a question to you, sir.
You know, I think this is a good tie into our week, because I'm going to ask you the same thing in a minute. But this week, I was actually messing with Suno, and I was spending some time getting into using these tools, and I just wanted to see what, you know, obviously last video, we could click the button up here. We tapped into Suno and Udio, and there was my live reaction. I actually have never used it before. It was like first time we ever used it and seen, or I used it. I know Duce, you've seen and used it before. But yeah, so that was my first time thinking it, and I just wanted to get into it a little bit more this week. And when I was creating some tracks, I did some 2000s R&B, ones with lyrics, one without lyrics, and I felt completely in awe. I felt the emotion that it triggered in me was, I couldn't believe it, bro. I couldn't believe it.
Same.
And the thing is as well, what's crazy is that for musicians like myself and you, especially more so producers, because we've dealt with technology, you can hear a lot of the processing in the vocals when it comes to like the harmonies and it's still got a lot of work to do. But the fact is, it doesn't matter, because most people in the world will never know. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Most people won't, and because it gives you the same emotion that music is meant to give you. But I must say as well, though, there are still quite a few limitations with what AI is doing in terms of the genres, in terms of similarities that it can end up picking up through after a couple of generations. You start kind of picking up on things, especially in the same genre. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would say that, I mean, I watched a video this week and it said, today is the worst AI will ever be. It's only going to get better from here.
We said that. We said that in one of our episodes. Yeah, we said that. Yeah.
So I was just amazed, and I was like, you know, it's unfortunate to those that don't see the opportunity, man.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And it's cool. You don't have to use it. You don't have to like it. But once it becomes widely adopted, you have a choice to make. You know what I'm saying? And I want to just point out as well, before I put to you, we are both musicians actively only doing music with our musicianship. We are not even currently in terms of our main, our main streams, main sources. The majority of our stuff has been from our own hands, from our own minds and our own skills, not from AI. So we are actively in the process with you figuring out, well, how can we use it? How can we make this happen? Because I'm not going to be left behind, because I'm I choose to disagree when it's going to be there whether I like or not. You know what I'm saying?
100%. No, lovely. I mean, before we move on with this point. How was your week, sir?
No, that was my week.
How was your week?
Yeah, that was my week. That was my week.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm saying because that's what I did this week. That's what it was. That's literally what I was spending time doing because I wanted to understand it. So that's why I say to you now, how was your weekend? Because you said that you was in the prisons too.
Yeah. So I was doing some workshops in the prison this week. And again, I'm so blessed, I'm so fortunate to be able to interact with some of the most talented people I will ever meet, and I have, I've been fortunate to have come, worked with many over the years, and it continues to keep me in the game. It keep, working with these guys who have zero access to music, to music production, to even one thing they do have is their voice. So if you're a rapper or a singer, you have your voice, so you can sing or rap on the wing or in your cell. Yeah. Now, I work within a studio within the mental health provision at one prison at the moment. And some of the guys who are tapping into some support, like trauma support, and it's not like they're mentally ill, but they're tapping into some of the psychotherapy support. So they're able to come and access music therapy. And when they come there, we explore whether it be rap, and most of it is rap anyway. Most of the guys doing rap. And I tell you what, man, it just... every time I go out, it just reminds me of how fortunate I am. Any time of the day, I can choose to create music with the world of tools. Any tool I want to use, I have it at my disposal.
Yeah.
But for those guys, they're so hungry. They get 1 hour per week with me, 1 hour. And when they come down, man, they're ready. They make the best of it, and they're so grateful. And then they can take something away, so they don't waste the opportunity. So there are guys who will come down and they will bang out like 3 songs in one session, finished. How many of you can tell me that you made 3 songs in the last week? You've got your studio, you've got your setup, you've got everything's like there at your disposal. These guys have 1 hour per week to come to the studio and record their music, and they're banging out 3 songs in a session in a prison where it's like, you don't want to be there.
It's uninspiring. Who wants to be in prison? Isn't it?
You see what I'm saying? So what it does, it forces you. That's what it does for a lot of these guys. It forces them into an escape, a mental escape, and it allows them to channel all the stress of the environment and the circumstances, and they put it into their creative content. Okay. And then it's raw, it's fire, and much of it is truth. Yeah. Much of it is truth. So, whereas when we have the luxury of our freedoms, sometimes, it's like, I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'll get to it next week. I'm busy. Yeah. Or you take, I was going to say something, but it might. You'll take a long time. You take a long time to make a song. You take a long time to make a song. All right. So anyway, I had a great week, man. I had a great week, that's and back. Glad to be back here. And just to kind of touch on something that you said at the very top of the episode, guys. Thank you so much for continuing to support what we're doing here. And we are always reading the comments. We love to hear from you, whether you think what we're doing is great, or if you don't, let us know, because we can then follow up on that. If there's something that we can do differently, better, change, or build upon, let us know. And we're going to turn up, and we're going to be honest with you, and we're going to give it from the heart. But at the same time, we're here for us because we enjoy it. But, if no one's watching, then what's the point? We want you guys to interact. So thanks for the comments. that have come in thus far. And let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, 100%. And subscribe as well if you find value. Yeah. And if you're finding the videos, please put down what you want us to touch on. We've actually had some comments from some people who have actually kind of talked about and touched on some of the episodes that we've talked about before. I remember some guy was asking about like copyright and things of that nature. And we're going to touch on a lot of these comments and we want to put them up like in the episode. Because we want to answer questions as it relates to what we know, but at the same time we are also going through it in real time. So
yes,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, Dr. Duce is the master here, to be honest with you, and I'm just a student.
No, we are masters in our own right. I mean, it comes with experience in different ways, and at the end of the day, for everyone who's watching, become an expert in your field. Become an expert in your field, whatever it is, or strive to become an expert in your field. Yeah. And that's my philosophy on anything.
Yeah, 100%. So I wanted to kind of give the people the 3 key points in how can musicians, artists, singers, producers, any musical creatives, how should we respond to the rise of AI and AI music tools? Because the craft is one thing and the tool is another thing. And as I was doing some research, because like I said, I was really going into it this week, and I felt like the first key point was we need to embrace AI as a collaborator and not a replacement. There was a guy, I forgot his channel, but he does like videography and photography. And I watched his video and he was saying something really interesting. He said, the problem with these new creators is that they are taking they're entering an industry with using AI that they are not passionate about and they are unfamiliar with, and therefore has resulted in massive failures. And this is not just his opinion. He showed examples of people doing tests and, I tried out this thing with stickers, this thing with cats, this thing with a book, tried to make a book with AI. And the reality is that he was saying he was like, don't be afraid of AI taking over. He was like, but don't be the one to let AI replace you. Yes. I don't know if I want to try and rephrase that. He said, don't be afraid of AI replacing you, because you'll probably end up being the one replacing yourself with AI, because you're just using AI to replace what you're doing because you just want to make money. You just want to make money. You just want to do this thing. And it was really a good point, because that is what a lot of people are doing. Like, what do you think?
Again, it depends on what your motivation is, I think. For people, for the folks who are just straight up money, straight up on this money thing, the AI is going to make them a lot of money. Or they'll figure out, and if they're smart enough, they'll figure out how to make a ton of money using AI tools. And that's a fact. Whether we like it or not, we don't have to like it, but it's just, it is what it is, However, if your passion and your motivation is mastery of your craft and to earn from your skill set, okay, you have then it's twofold. You have to continue to develop your skills in the environment, because the environment's constantly changing. In 1990, there was no hard disk recording. Okay, do you understand? There was no recording onto the computer. There was MIDI recording, but audio could only be recorded to tape.
Crazy.
So there was no cutting and like you make a mistake. Okay, you do another take. You make a comp. You comp that together. You move the parts in and you split. No, you had to. If you're, bro, I'm going back. You see, that's the thing. I've got so much experience in this game, that it just takes me back there. You probably, if you don't know what splicing tape is, look it up. Yeah. Because that's what we had to do. We had to physically cut the tape.
Yeah.
Cut out a chunk of tape and then take out a section and merge them together and hope
it's crazy,
that you got it in time. I hope you got it in time. And tapes weren't cheap. All right. Physical, magnetic, reel-to-reel tape. Not cheap. Anyway, I lost my train because it took me back.
No, but so you was pointing out how it depends on where you're coming from, isn't it?
That's
it. And
so,
yeah.
Go on, yeah. Where did I get to?
So you said it depends on where you're coming from, what angle you're taking this AI from, because before it was different. I feel like you was going towards the direction of if you were someone who wouldn't adopt using digital audio or recording audio into a computer, you would still be there today looking at tape, trying to put things together.
No, you would be in the garden trying to catch squirrels. That's what you'd be doing, trying to catch squirrels in the garden, because you'd be so far behind. Where you gonna find? Where you gonna find a place that sells tapes, bruv? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Who's gonna maintain your reel-to-reel machine? Come on, man. Come on, like we have to. It's the truth. I lived through it, man. I came up in it, you know?
Yeah.
So we are here now. So we've gone past the stage of us getting in the studio, being surrounded by our equipment, having access to samples and all of that, and drawing from all of that, putting it together, using our creativity now to create a song. That's now becoming legacy.
Yeah.
That's becoming the legacy way. Now, for those of us who still enjoy and value, those of us who still value being musicians, creatives, we're going to have to figure out, okay, we moved to a new phase. The AI tools are here. We could sit down and just type a description, create a song, and then claim it as ours. But it's not. It's not. You didn't create it. You might say, oh yeah, the prompt I put in is I created. No, you didn't. The computer, the AI engine, the AI agent, that's what created it. You didn't create it. Okay. Now, if you want to continue to develop and stay in as, like I said, as a creative, that's what we're talking about, is how do we now navigate and figure out how to use the tools, but still I can play you a song, Tim, and say, Tim, I made this song. And then I can show you how I made it. I might have incorporated other elements that were generated by the AI.
Yeah.
But I can still say and confidently say, this finished piece has my stamp on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I would say, you know, for those guys who are still interested, you know, that's probably where you might want to pitch it.
I think and even I was just thinking of how to even add to what you're saying and summarize it. Keep your voice and your story at the center of the creation, and use the tools and the software to help build that story around the message that you're trying to do. And that can be in any way, as a singer, helping you to make the music around your voice, as a producer, helping to inspire the sound that you want to create and building off of that, but keeping your story at the center, your unique touch at the center of your creation, enjoying that, loving that, nurturing that, and then using these tools to build around that. I think that's basically, that's what we're saying, right? Yeah.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying, bro.
Yeah, and don't be, how do you say, don't hate until you try it. Try it first.
Yeah.
And see how that works for you. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Yeah, you know, just to, you know, one last point on the reality. And again, we're just talking facts here. You know, there are people who they pushed back against the idea of sending emails when email first came about because they were afraid. It's like they didn't understand, they didn't take the time to understand. So they continued with sending letters. But eventually they were so far behind, they were then forced into sending emails because I don't want to receive a letter from you, bro. Why am I waiting 2 weeks for a letter to come from America when you can send me an email in 10 seconds? Do you get me? It takes you the same length of time to write it. And for many of those people who were pushing back, these are like in the 90s and that, who were pushing back against email, many of them didn't want to adapt and adopt new ICT, the technologies into their homes. So they stuck to the old typewriter. Okay, so they can type on that and then type and print it out and type it to the paper. They make a mistake. Now they have to get the Tipex and try and fix that and type out. These are facts. Many of you probably know people who were there. Eventually, they had no choice but to move on. But by the time they moved on, everyone else is buying online. People are buying and selling online, and you're still there now. You're trying to figure out how to use email. This is what we're talking about, but in a music production context.
Absolutely.
Okay? We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just talking about what's happened. It's just a repeating cycle, but just in a different context. That's all it is.
No, 100%. And I think that's a good point because I know people right now, my elders, who are massively struggling with technology because they denied all forms of technology. I'm talking about, like you said, emails. I'm talking about digital phones, bro. Like, it's having seen it firsthand is a very sad thing to witness. I'll be honest. It's very like, wow, you're so far behind for a lot of these people. It might actually be too late. you have to learn. You have to go through school. You have to go through a school type of learning to understand because you denied it for so many years, and it will have an effect on your life. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And a quick example before I go on to the second point, like imagine that people, and let's just be honest, it could happen. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it, but I'm saying it could be adopted, that producers start making beats with AI and adding to the AI beats and are making 20 songs in a day, 30 songs in a day, sending them out to the artists and getting hits like that. If that happens, and you're still taking 5 hours to make an instrumental, you will be left behind, bro. Unfortunately, you get what I'm saying? I'm not making the rules, but if that's how people decide to adopt it and it becomes popular in the industry, then what can you do except be one of those people that are using it? And you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about the industry here. We're not talking about your hobby or nothing like that. We're talking about the industry, right?
Absolutely.
So, but anyway. I've got a point. I don't know if you had anything to say about that before.
I love the fact that you said that I'm not making the rules. I think that's so powerful because it's the truth. It's the truth. Unfortunately, we are subject to the rules which are not made by us. In terms of progress and generating income, because we're still talking we're talking more about the music industry generating income and a career path in music, in music production and music. So there are rules to this thing, but we don't make the rules.
We don't make them, man. We don't get to. We don't get to.
We don't get to.
Unfortunately.
So
yeah, man. But with that being said, the second point, and it's very important. With that, like I said, with that being said, the second point was double down on the musicianship and skill development. Double down on that. The better here's the difference. If you let's create a realistic example, okay? There's an artist looking for a producer, okay? And there's producer A who is not a musician, who doesn't understand anything musically, technically, creating composition wise, mixing, engineering, writing, you know what I'm saying, even writing music, melody, understanding harmony. He doesn't understand anything that, but he uses AI, and he's really good at getting prompts and getting people what they want to hear. And then you got the other person who is also really good at getting prompts and getting what you want to hear, but has everything that we just mentioned, understands harmony, understands melody, understands the skills of how to play an instrument.
Yeah.
If any artist out there listen to this example, who would you pick? Because doesn't that have a massive difference on how your song turns out, and also the steering the direction of how the song concludes? No,
that's right.
And
exactly,
that is a massive thing, bro. Like you can't AI your skill. That's not here yet. Until they do the neuron thing that we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So you need to double down on the musicianship and skill development, man.
Yeah. On that point there, I was listening I was messing with Udio. I was messing with Udio the other day. I'd spoken to you about this. I was just messing with it, and just to kind of hear, because these things are constantly advancing and evolving and getting better. And some of the tracks that it was generating, there was clear conflict in the chord progression. And I was thinking, that doesn't make sense. Where it needed to be maybe a major would have worked, or a major chord might have worked, but it played a chord that was so discordant with the whole arrangement, and I was like, nah. And now, if you're developing your music, your musicianship, your music theory, your music understanding, you will hear that and you will know what's going on. But if you're just good on the computer in terms of understanding technology and not a musician, you're going to hear it. It might trouble you a bit, but it's made by AI, so it must be all right. You get me?
Yeah.
If it's churned out by Suno or Udio or whatever it is, if it's churned out by that, and all of the other songs sound cool, but this song sounds a bit weird, but you don't know. You can't go and find the chord and say, that's the wrong chord there, mate.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. So you're just going to go along with it and be like, yeah, of course. Well, it must be right. I'm not a musician, so it's got to be right. Yeah, let's press your
You
download.
won't even notice.
Let's put that. You won't know.
You probably wouldn't even notice.
You won't know. See what I'm saying? So that's, again, this is part of the value, of what you said about double down on your musicianship and your musical abilities, because you still need it.
Yeah. It's a foundation. It's the foundation of music as a whole. Understanding theory, understanding melody, harmony, and understanding how to play instruments, and even just the structure, even understanding musical structure. AI still makes these massive mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Not every AI generated song or prompt is going to qualify to release. That's not not every song that you make is going to qualify to release.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And going back to what you were saying a little while back about the generic sounding output from certain platforms now, and even where the output is just so, like, you might say you put in, I don't know, 70s, 90s R&B, but then you're getting like this lo-fi. This lo-fi thing is what seems to be.
Lo-fi thing is what is running the AI thing. Yeah.
It's right. And therefore, we said it before, but for you guys who are, if you're lo-fi producers, you really need to think, if you have made a career out of making lo-fi music, producing it, actually getting down in the lab and creating those pieces and putting them out there, you will definitely find that all of a sudden the level of competition that you're up against is insane. Huge. And why? It's because people who aren't musicians, aren't producers, are going onto the platforms, generating a whole bunch of lo-fi instrumentals, creating their channel. Boom, out. You just need one to blow. You just need one.
That's it. And it's true. So focus on, double down on the musicianship and skill development, because that is where the value is, and that is what will separate you from everybody else. Just jumping on this as a wave and temporarily, 100%. And then the last thing before we wrap it up was to use AI tools to fuel the joy and flow, but not become dependent on it. Yeah. When you focus on step 1 and 2, your dependence is on your ability, your skill, your knowledge of music and understanding of music. Whereas obviously the opposite sets you up for failure, because you like you just said in the example before, if you're working, because we're talking about working on a high level, we're not talking about bedroom music, respectfully, we're not talking about like bedroom music or stuff you send to your friends. We're talking about high level production, stuff that goes out to the world and is paid for, signed for, all of these different types of things, TV, you know. So on that level, people will notice the issues or the musical conflicts in your creativity if you don't know what you're doing. That's a fact. That's it. I've seen it with just knowing, just not even using AI, and I just don't know I just don't know some stuff, and the musicians will know, the professionals will know, the leaders in the industry will know, the singers will know. They will recognize, be like, oh, and that can cause you to lose a job, cause you to lose a relationship, an opportunity. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'd say, imagine, and this is again doubling down on. I just want to touch back again on, and it's linked to the 2 points: doubling down on musicianship and what you've just said there. Using these tools to fuel your creativity and the joy. Imagine this. I'll take you for example, Tim. If you had a power cut, a week-long power cut, could you still make music?
100%.
Thank you. Could Aaliyah still make music?
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of you, you know, it is that simple. If I had a power cut for a month, I could pick up a guitar. I could practice a bit of drumming. I could get to an acoustic piano, light work, you know, still creating. Now, if you are allowing yourself to become dependent on the AI tools or the just the computer, and you have a power cut, you know, this is how you kind of assess your vulnerabilities in these situations. Think about it. If there is a power cut, are you able to continue to create music? And if your dependency is on using AI, what happens if you can't afford to pay your broadband? Or if you can't afford to meet the payment for the AI engine that you use? And this is early days. Hey, guys, listen. We're only starting. This is early. Once this thing takes off, you think it's still going to be $10 a month? You do think that these big companies, the one or two that's going to really break through, like your Logic Pro equivalent or your Pro Tools equivalent or your Cubase equivalent in the AI sector, those ones that are going to have the rep, you know, and have all the tools, you think it's still going to be $10 a month? Keep dreaming. So now imagine you can't afford the subscription. Does that mean that you can't make music? Something to think about. Yeah. So it's dependence. It's easy right now. You can quite easily become dependent on it. Yeah, absolutely. But don't. Our encouragement is nah. That's a silly move. Use the tool as it is. Figure out how you can use, but do not make that the thing that keeps you in the game. Become good at creating music yourself, and that is just a tool to support that process.
100%, man. And with that being said, just to wrap up all 3 points. Number 1, embrace AI and use it as a creative collaborator, not a replacement. Number 2, double down on musicianship and skill development. Very important. This is the foundation of music, And number 3, use AI tools to fuel the joy and the flow, and that you're not dependent on it, and it's an addition to what you're already doing and what you're already good at. In essence, man, that is how I believe musical creatives should adopt AI. I think that we both agree on
100%,
on these points.
100%.
And ultimately, man, get involved and get an understanding, because if you don't understand, then you won't know what to do. You won't know how to navigate. At least if you understand, you can then decide whether you will be a part of it or not in any way, in any fashion. But hopefully you guys found some value in this episode. Please make sure you subscribe. If you found value in this episode. If you didn't find it valuable, if it didn't apply to you, then maybe we'll hit it next time. But we appreciate you for watching. Comment down below what you want us to touch on next. If there's any other tools or any other points that you think we missed, man. And Duce, anything that you want to say before we sign out?
Yeah, no, it's been a good one. Look forward to the next one. We got so much more to come. And once again, thank you guys for sticking with us for the questions, for the comments, the feedback, and for the continued support as we navigate our way through. Great linking up with you again, Tim.
Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. That being said, man, until next time. Love.
Until next time, love.